What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be ripping the lifted Civic apart, get it ready to put a new clutch in. Gonna hopefully get the swap out of it today and take it apart. But before we start ripping it apart, I've always wondered if it could do a burnout on the 29. And right before we take it apart, I figure it's as good as time as any to figure out what it'll do. So it is open diff. I do not know which side is going to spin, but I'm just going to set the camera up somewhere at the front of it, and we'll see what happens. After we get the new clutch in and get it broken, we're going to have to go out on the street and do a proper burnout. Well, now we know a D16 Z6 can spin a 29-inch tall tire, no problem. Alright, I guess we'll start ripping into it now. But it is winter time, so I've got, this thing will be on and off here and there, so sorry about that noise. I know it's pretty loud. But I'm going to go ahead and put the front up on jack stands, and then we'll get this thing lifted up in the air and start getting the shift linkage and the exhaust and start ripping it apart. Sitting on our jack stands, and then got the compressor filling up. Get this thing lifted up in the air. Just gotta take this skid plate off here, pop this shift linkage off, unhook the exhaust, and pop the axles out. And then pretty much everything else should be from the top with the car down on the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and knock all that out real quick. place soon anyway, so might as well try it. But came right out of there. It's kind of cool. Went ahead and got the slave cylinder off, got the lower engine mount off, got all the little transmission oil pan bracket things off. Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull the radiator hose, let the coolant drain out, and then we'll drop it down to the ground and disconnect our fuel and a couple other things, and then we should be about ready to pull it out of here. Time to drop it down. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we are ready to pull it. All the cooling systems unhooked, all the heater core, all that stuff. Fuel in, fuel out, both unhooked. I got all the wiring off, so we should be good. I'll see if I can't borrow a cherry picker tomorrow and get this thing ripped out of here and get this transmission off and see what the damage is. So we'll pick this up tomorrow. Alright, next day down here, and it's actually pretty warm today, so I don't think we're gonna have to worry about the heater noise. But get the cherry picker set up over here and got some chains and stuff, so we'll figure out where we're gonna hook the chain up to and go ahead and get this all hooked up, and then we'll pull our 3 engine mounts and rip this thing out of here. Oh, throttle cable. Dude, there's always forget something. Looks like there's a throttle cable this time. Yeah, we'll have to fix that before we break it. So our experiment to see if we could pull it out without taking any of the suspension apart is a failure. With the axles even in there a little bit like they are. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, right in there. They're just barely sitting in there, but they still got everything bound up. So we're just gonna rip that top ball joint apart, and that should give us enough room to slide the axles out. Bing! There you go.
Send it.
Got this thing all situated, sit down here on the ground, and we actually noticed something a little bit wrong with this axle here. So yeah, that's definitely not supposed to be twisted like that. So we were pretty close to snapping that one off, but we're gonna have to get some replacements for those. Don't see anything wrong with it yet. I was kind of expecting like parts of the spring pack or something to fall out. Alright, well we'll get the pressure plate ripped off there and see what it looks like. It's blue. The thing's definitely been very hot. But I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, y'all saw it do a burnout at the beginning of the video. That flywheel though, is pretty burnt. Let me shine some light so y'all can see that. Alright, so I don't think that is supposed to be blown through there like that. So that's probably problem number one. That's probably most of our noise right there. What do y'all think? I'm gonna have to find a new one of the, I have to find a new clutch fork. That's probably why my pedal always felt so weird. That's definitely junk. That is too. Alright, so I can't get the parts today. I'm gonna have to order them. So that means we're gonna have to go ahead and close this video out here and finish it up next week. But one thing that we did notice is there was no pilot bearing here. So if y'all remember, I threw this used clutch in here a few months ago and was just in a real big hurry for the Georgia Gambler, and literally just took it apart and then threw these pieces on. I had no extra parts. I just had clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel. So let's do those on, and then I've done 3 Gamblers since then on this setup. So we'll be sure to get the new pilot bearing and throwout bearing and get everything right this time. But that's me all for this week. We'll see you next week for another one. Hopefully get the car back together and up and running. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Peace.